Hello and welcome to my presentation on the theory of planned behavior. So what is the theory of planned behavior? The theory of planned behavior is an intrapersonal theory that acts as an extension of the theory of reasoned action. My chosen theory is an expectancy value theory, meaning that it serves to explain how individuals' behaviors are influenced by beliefs and attitudes. The theory of reasoned action is the foundation of the theory of planned behavior, and the latter covers a key limitation of the former. The theory of reasoned action considers attitude toward the behavior and subjective norm with respect to a behavior, while the theory of planned behavior adds perceived behavioral control. Perceived behavioral control is essential to this theory because without it, intentions could be minimal, even if attitudes toward the behavior and subjective norm are strong. So what is the function of the theory of planned behavior? In recent years, this theory has become a framework for explaining and predicting behavior. The primary idea within this theory is that the main driver for behavior is the intention to perform the behavior. Attitude refers to one's own evaluation of a target behavior. Subjective norm is related to perceived social pressure to engage in the behavior, and perceived behavioral control refers to people's impressions of their talents and feelings of control over circumstances. In my research, I came across an experimental study that examines the association between these three key variables within TPB and three smoking-related response variables. The idea is to study how physical activity aids people in quitting smoking. The results suggest that the beneficial effects of physical activity on decreasing smoking has to do with the increased perceived behavioral control over exercise that has an effect on the control to smoking behavior. Higher PBC for physical activity predicted a lower number of relapses and cigarettes smoked in the 3-month time frame following their quit day. So how can I use the theory of planned behavior in my worksite wellness program? When considering the implementation of this theory in a health-related behavioral intervention, my idea that comes to mind is having the employees complete surveys regarding their feelings on positive behaviors that we want to introduce in the workplace. For example, for my company, Radical Fitness, I can focus on physical activity, specifically engaging in physical activity at least 4 times a week. The survey would include a question on the employee's attitude toward the behavior, subjective norm with respect to the behavior, and perceived behavioral control. The survey results can help employees understand their likelihood to engage in the behavior, also increasing my understanding on what they need from my WWP to reach that level. So how can employees benefit from the use of the theory of planned behavior? Once I have gathered data on the target behavior, I will be able to start considering strategies that can be introduced into the workplace to aid employees in practicing the behavior. Attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control all come together to predict employees' intentions to engage in the target behavior. So if intentions seem low, I need to figure out how to boost their confidence in performing the behavior. As I previously mentioned, even with strong attitude toward behavior and subjective norm, with a lack of perceived behavioral control, intentions are still likely to be minimal. While I could add some visual models that serve to foster a positive feeling toward the behavior, I may not get the results I am looking for. Instead, I would look to boost employee morale, using an interactive activity that can serve to prove to employees that they truly do possess the ability and control they need to excel in performing the target behavior. As I wrap up my presentation with my references page, I thank you all for listening and hope you have a great day.